Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be my third official video. I'm officially getting things started now, sort of kicking the vlog off. I felt like it was important at the very beginning of things to tell my fitness journey. Let's rewind and get going on this story. So back when I lived in Ohio, through all the super fun years of life, puberty, middle school, all that jazz, when I was growing up, I was a really fit kid. I looked like an Olympic gymnast when I was 8. I grew up riding horses competitively. I was a swimmer, so I was super active as a kid. It wasn't until I would say I was about 12 or 13 that I started making the connection that moving around was fitness, and it kept me in shape. This is the kicker. I'm really sorry, Mom, if you watch this. I love you. We've worked through this. But I grew up as a kid watching her meticulously read the label on every single thing that she ate. On the other side of the spectrum, my mom was like, health pendulum swung this way, and my dad was use food as comfort, pendulum swung over here. And so I was growing up watching this being like, wait, so I need to be paranoid about food and like never eat it unless it's green? Or if I'm feeling sad, then I can go eat a bowl of ice cream. Also, unfortunately, lived in a really terrible town, and the friends that I had didn't have the best eating habits either. I thought it was perfectly normal to like never eat when I was at home and then just go out and splurge with my friends. So I developed this like reward mentality with food, which like when I was in middle school, I like kind of got away with it and like didn't really know what I was doing. But then I went through some like really difficult years with a friend of mine who's unfortunately no longer living, that caused me to develop an emotional dependency on food, and combined with just how unhealthy that relationship was, I developed a full-blown eating disorder. I wouldn't eat when my mom was home. She might not even know this. And I would hoard food in my bedroom, and of course I was also going through puberty, so like weight was an issue for me. I went from being this like insanely athletic kid to definitely a little fluffier. Like no one would have been like, oh, Emily, she's fat. But in my mind, I knew that I wasn't at the healthiest weight for my body type. So fast forward a couple years, now it has turned into a chemical habit as much as an emotional habit of restrict, binge, because now my body, going through puberty and getting used to that style of eating, doesn't know how to eat any other way. So now I don't have normal hunger cues. I don't have normal satiety cues, so I don't know when I actually need to eat, and I don't know when I need to stop eating. I just remember feeling so lost, because at the same time, I was like super aware that any time that there was like physical opportunity to do anything, whether it was like playing games at youth group, we'd play capture the flag, and like everybody wanted me on their team because I was the fastest and like I could keep up with the guys, like no big deal. So like I knew that there was like some redeemable factor about like what was going on with my body, but I was still completely trapped. I turned 16, so this would be 2010. I had gone through like a little bit of a healthier phase, somehow managed to get my life together. I don't remember what exactly the factors were. My family moved from Ohio to Pennsylvania. I had been homeschooled my entire life, and I'm about to start going to high school. My junior year and my senior year, I went to a private Christian high school, which was incredible. It was super small, but for some reason, the 2 years that I was there, our sports teams did incredible. And that was the first time that I had ever played soccer or basketball. It was the first time that I had had real experience with team sports like that. And that was when I figured out that like, whoa, I'm really athletic. It's like the first time in my life that I was like this could be something in my life that I can like use to go places. That kind of like sparked a little something in me. And I started, for the first time in my life, like researching exercise, like how to exercise, because it was the first time I had to like show up for practices in a way like I had never had to show up for practices before. And I was connecting that like drills in this micro bit of an area made you good on this macro level of performance, and like my body hurt and it was awesome and there was competition. But meanwhile, my high school shared a building. We rented out of the same building as a ballet studio. So at the end of every day, me, who's like gun show, got to sit around and compare myself with all of the itty bitty ballerinas that came in at the end of every single school day. And because we literally had school in a ballet studio, every single one of our classrooms was full of mirrors. So I just got to sit around all day and look at my body, look at everyone else's body, and get super, super, super paranoid about what I looked like, on top of still being confused out of my mind about nutrition and hormonally freaking out still because I was still dealing with the binge restrict cycle. I graduated high school in 2012, and I remember graduating and being at kind of a low point. So when I went off to college, I joined intramural soccer, and suddenly I had these like coaches and athletes from like other teams who were just playing soccer intramurally, like for the fun of it, being like, hey, you should go out for the soccer team, or hey, you should go out for the track team. I was like, I'm playing against actual collegiate soccer players and I've never played this in my entire life. But I literally, like, I could just run fast and kick the ball far. That was it. That was all I could offer. No fancy ball handling skills. Still can't do anything cool to this day. One time I tried to do the rainbow thing and like almost knocked myself out. All power, no finesse. At the end of my freshman year, I was like sort of seeing this guy. We were like never really official, but he was on the track team. And so I got like a little bit more exposure to this sport that I had never considered in my entire life. But I was like, well, if there's one thing that I know that I'm good at, I can run really fast. So might as well just try to work my way into a sport where all I need to do is run really fast to the left. One of my really great friends introduced me to the coach, and he was like, yeah, we'll have you try out, and if you make the team, awesome. I tried out, made the team as an 800 runner, and showed up early to school, fall of 2013, to join the track team. Now it should be noted that I walked on as an 800 runner, but they asked me to do the heptathlon. So the heptathlon is 7 events. It's the 800, the 200, 100 meter hurdles, high jump, long jump, shot put, and javelin. But what ended up happening was I had so many coaches who didn't have a lot of like good communication with each other and what was going on, that I had some coaches being like, you should eat more, you'll be able to lift heavier, and other coaches being like, you should eat less, you'll be able to run the 800 faster. And I was like, so that also didn't go well, combined with the fact that I had a psycho roommate at the time, and I was also trying to triple major. What was I doing? I don't know. And at this point in my life, I had been struggling with like the health and fitness thing for so long that I was beginning to put my identity in athletics, because that was the thing that I was like, I'm good at this. And I had to be good at something because it was where I was like getting my value and my sanity from. So I pushed myself in ways that I had never pushed myself before. From August 2013 to December 2013, I was like muscles on muscles on muscles. I had the lowest body fat percentage that I could ever remember, and my eating disorder had never been worse. Like, I honestly was probably eating 1,500 calories a day, trying to train for 7 events, which was like 3 times a day. I would lift in the morning, have track practice in the afternoon, and then have technique in the evening. Trying to triple major in between there. I gave myself stomach ulcers. I burned out so hard that I dropped out of school and kind of just ran my life into the ground. I also had a squatting accident that messed up my right shoulder, which is something that I still deal with to today, and left my 2 years at Indiana Wesleyan as a defeated and unrecognizable individual. But that summer, after I left Indiana Wesleyan, I worked at a summer camp. I had also worked there the summer before, but this summer was terrible. I lost all of my muscle mass. Because I went from training in college at such a high volume to working at this summer camp where I wasn't doing anything in regards to physical activity, all of my joints, hips, shoulders, knees, everything destabilized. And I'd been having some problems with my shoulder ever since I had the squatting accident. So that brought to surface all of these injuries that I had accumulated that I didn't even know that I had. And now, because I didn't have any muscle holding my joints in proper position, those all came to fruition. I was at a huge low. In space of a year, I had gone from being in the best shape of my life to arguably the worst shape of my life. And mentally, honestly, mentally, I was the worst. My eating disorder got so bad in the fall of 2014 because I was working 2 jobs, one of which had me up before the sun came up, and it was the winter. So I went to work, it was dark out, I came home, slept for 2 hours, so I was asleep during the day when it was light out, and then went to my second job at night, which was underground, and it was dark. So for the span of 4 months, I like literally did not see the sun. And I don't say that to exaggerate, I like actually didn't see the sun. And I got so depressed. I remember just screaming and crying in my room to my mom. Oh, it was bad. Like I was broken. And I don't know what happened between December 2014 and January 2015, but I decided to go back to school at this school called Anderson that I had a bunch of friends from camp who went there, and my body like weirdly pulled itself together for like half a second. So when I was at Anderson, I was able to get back in shape again, started lifting heavily, still was not eating enough. Like I had a much better understanding of nutrition at this point from all the research that I had done previously, but I was always super hard on myself and never gave myself realistic standards of what to do. So whenever I would try to count macros or anything, I would just get ridiculously paranoid, super restrictive. I had so many foods on my list that were like not safe because my body was unable to process and digest food correctly. I was just a chemical and hormonal mess. But I ended up training just in the gym really hard the semester that I was at Anderson. Anderson was great for me as a school, but I still had no idea what I wanted to study, and I just felt like I was wasting my time and energy. So I left Anderson. I still lived in that town in Indiana for the summer and waitressed there, which same thing happened, was working all the time, working at night, lost all my muscle mass, started binge eating terribly again, was so depressed. I remember like one of my roommates having a conversation with me, and I remember saying, I was like, I literally just feel dead inside. It's like sucking the life out of me. Went back home to State College again, and I was actually planning to leave the state and just kind of pick a job that I knew that I could make money at and live far away from anyone and everything that I had ever known and start my life over. But you can't run away from your problems because they go with you. So I don't know what I was thinking, but that didn't happen. 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave, my mom actually randomly stumbled upon this website, which was for YWAM. It's an international missions organization, and what they do is they send you off to a school for like 5 to 6 months, and the first half of it is more like lecture based, and the second half of it is outreach based. There's speakers who come internationally, you get to develop your faith, you deal with your life problems, there's healthy community, and I was like, if I'm actually trying to figure my life out at this point, that's probably gonna happen faster if I take some intentional time to actually go do that than if I just go towards escapism. So I flew off to Belize, yes, Belize, Central America, in the fall of 2015. And so for 3 months I lived on this island. Our school was leadership themed. There was a huge emphasis on personal growth, personal development, which is like everything I needed. It basically made me confront like every single huge lie of my past that I believed and replace that with scriptural truth of the gospel. Like, I'm a Christian and my faith had always been a part of my life, but I had been using my faith kind of just like a facade and like going through the motions, and I wasn't allowing the Lord to really take control of my life and transform it and allow those truths that I knew to like truly reside in my heart and like change who I was as a person. When I came home then from the outreach portion in 2016, I went to Japan for 2 months after that. I was still suffering from injuries. Like, my right shoulder was completely shot. I was limping everywhere. My hips were bad. My knee was bad. Got back to State College, went to see some doctors because I was like, you know, I can only do this with my right arm and that's probably not good. So I got some MRIs and some x-rays done, and they were like, if you don't want to have dual hip replacements like right now, you're gonna stay here and you're gonna go to physical therapy. I got stuck living back at home with my parents, had to get a job, and I ended up going back to school at Penn State. And I was in physical therapy from March of 2016 until January of 2017. And then really early in 2017, I started dating this guy who was from the town that I live in now. So I started coming to Lancaster and immediately fell in love with the town. So one of my girlfriends was buying a house and looking for roommates when I was just losing my mind in State College, and so I ended up moving in with her. Long story short, I moved here. I started going to a functional wellness center, getting chiropractic and nutrition treatment done. In the scope of 2 months, they completely fixed my hormones, my nutritional issues, my digestive issues. I also see them for chiropractic, and she has just completely transformed my body. And so I go there once a week for chiropractic now. I was able to get my personal training certification. I got hired at like my dream gym. I work with incredible people. I've been able to start CrossFit. I went out to Utah. I met some of my biggest CrossFit idols. I'm a brand ambassador for like the coolest freaking supplement company on the face of the planet. I live with amazing people. I have awesome community. God is real, guys. He is real. I could not have done this in my own life. Not by any means, but he's taken my like greatest weaknesses and turned them into my greatest strengths. Now it's my passion to take what I've learned and what I've experienced and to show you that it is possible to live a healthy and disciplined life, not because you're living out of a place of low self-worth, but because you're living out of a place of value. Honestly, everything that it took to fix what is going on here, by far supernatural. Could not have done it myself. Whether you believe in God or not, I hope that through following me in my story, you'll start to see his hand and his providence and his faithfulness in my life, because I'm not going to sit here and take credit for like this insanely tangled web of horror that was my life that has somehow been unraveled. That's not saying that my life is perfect now. That's not saying that there's not areas of my life that I still need to work on. But every single day, I'm seeing that if I'm a good steward of the things that the Lord has entrusted me with, if I don't use those things selfishly for myself or put my value in them, He multiplies them tenfold, because ultimately this isn't about me. I want my story to be a testament to the greatness of my God. And sometimes He has to smack us upside the head and take very important things away from us that we've been abusing before He'll give them back to us. And I want to empower you guys as much as I can and just be transparent about areas that I'm still learning in and growing in. It's not perfect, but it's better than psychosis. So yeah, that's all for now. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm putting out there, and then please share this on your social media so that more people can watch me while I say things about health and fitness to a camera. That's Emily 2018.